Victorian England was a proud time in the British Empire. When men were men, women were silent, and we controlled all those sneaky foreigners. My grandfather used to tell me tales of Victorian England before he died. He died of a horrible wasting disease that's pretty curable by today's standards. My favourite tale was the true story of a bouncy devil man who used to jump around the streets, knocking out women. Simpler times. Today in Sexy Beasts, we're on the hunt for a little lad called Spring Heel Jack.
Girl, you got that sexy beast. You're just so sexy. Are you a Loch Ness monster? Or are you Bigfoot, cryptid, supernatural vampires, banshees, Tony and Jago? Oops, there's a Wendigo. Hey, coming after me. Who the fuck said you could laugh at me, smack with me? With a Bigfoot dick you could slap with me? Blasphemy. You could dare come at me with a Bigfoot dick and a Loch Ness monster pussy? Bay Sexy Beast.
Hello there, and welcome to Sexy Beasts, your foray into the menagerie of the unexplained. Every podcast is devoted to a specific creature, cryptid, or monster. We discuss its history, its merits, and using our FECS analysis, we rate and review the beast against other creatures in our Premier Crypt. And be sure to listen all the way to the end, because we're either going to get a freak encounter from you, which is a story about a time you came in contact with something really weird, or I'll make one up off the top of the dome, like last week's Cadbury's chocolate spider hand. And in worst case scenario, we'll close out the show with Top Trumps, where we compete. My team, Team Dragon.
My balls across your face.
Okay, versus Team Jago's cool. But allow me to introduce ourselves. If you've heard of Panty Bliss, well, you can call me Pantsless Bliss, because again, for the second week in a row, I am pantsless in the recording studio. My name is Tony Cantwell, obviously, and my co-host as always, or should I say co-moist, because he's equally as sweaty as me, Mark Jago.
Yeah, it's a hot one.
Well, it's the hot one. Do-do-do-do, down the midday sun. Do-do,
Rob Thomas featuring Santana.
FM 104. Remember they used to put those in?
What, like little stings?
Yeah, they put little stings into ones like I'll do one for Smooth Operator. Hang on. FM 104, yeah.
That's mental.
They used to always do that.
Anyway, today we're talking about Spring Heel Jack. I actually do. I like this guy. Is he a guy? What would I call him?
What's just hilarious is like you have your Jack the Rippers.
Yeah.
Yeah, of a similar time.
Yeah.
He's essentially a guy. He's a guy who gropes and potentially knocks out women. And then jumps
away.
Jumps
9 feet away.
9 feet away.
Do you know what? We're heading into the party territory here.
Okay, because this is not one of your bog standards. Some of our favorite cryptids. I mean, I don't know. I love all cryptids. You know that about me, Mark Jago. But you know, we have different ones. We have some that are. You know, they could be different versions. You know, we have the Coyelemania, which is like a water lion, which is somewhat like an aquatic version of something we already know. Could even be a type of sea lion. We've got the dragon, you know, this mythical beast, you know. But then you have Spring Heel Jack, which is essentially one bouncy guy. Essentially just a bouncy man in Victorian England.
Yeah, but he is so mysterious.
Right, well, look, let's play... You're at a London party, mate.
Yeah. Victorian London party.
Victorian London party, mate. And you listen to some London bands.
Dry your eyes, mate.
Okay. You're at a London party.
And I walk up to a fine Victorian lass.
Oh, hello, geezer.
And I say, have you heard about Spring Heel Jack?
Mate, if you take out your knob, I'm going to be so into it, because I'm a hoa.
I'm a hoa. He had...
I'm a sex worker, sorry.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
That's my fault.
Diabolical appearance. He had... wore a metal helmet with devil horns, had red glowing eyes, could breathe blue flames, could jump up to 10 feet high in a standing jeep jump, had metal claws, and an all-encompassing cape that was blacker than the blackest thing that anyone's ever seen.
If you take out your knob right now, I'm again going to be into it because I'm a sex worker.
And I say, how many doubloons?
It's pounds, mate. What will you live in? Yeah, Spring Heel Jack. I love the sound of this guy. I mean, he sounds like the sort of lad who you'd meet in Temple Bar when you're growing up and you're like drinking naggins, and he's got these springy heeled, wears like a long coat, has a devil's helmet and pewter little fingering clink 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 claws that he wears on his fingers. I mean, he'd be the sort of guy you'd see, and it was, the sort of guy who'd be like 30, still living with his parents, which isn't bad. Come on, we all,
especially in this bloody.
Yeah, it was worse back then. Say this is the year 2002, and he's like cracking on to some 14-year-old bird. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is the sort of guy who I would envision. But in this case, that sounds cool because he's Spring Heel Jack. Spring Heel Jack has. I'm not saying that Peter, that the guy cracking onto, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It's cool. He's cool.
No, remember those guys, like the old guys who'd be cracking onto young birds and be like, this guy seems cool because we're young.
There was a guy who specifically, back when Dorans was called Dorans, when Dorans kicked out, he'd specifically wait outside just to talk to like people who got like locked, and then we had to like tell them to just fuck off so many times. Like,
there were so many predatorial goths.
And looking back now, like as a 30-year-old man, I'm just like back then we were like, oh look, it's pretty funny this lad's going around trying to hit on girls.
Yeah, but also it was just like he might have like read all of the Wheel of Time or something like that, and because he had a lot to talk about, and that was cool for some people anyway. But fucking hell, could you imagine one of our mates just fucking was cracking on to 16-year-olds outside, like, and they didn't know where to go. They were just fucking cracking on to anyway.
Yeah, but then you walked over to him, and then you were like, "Why are you cracking on to a 16-year-old? You're 30." And then he fucking jumped 10 feet away.
And then we're like, that actually, that is pretty cool.
Cool.
I don't agree with what he does, but he's got a
so
good
back
jump.
in Victorian era, this was a huge sort of scandal.
Yes,
if this was Heat magazine, he'd be like, "Oh, 7 tips to be jumpy like Spring Heel Jack."
It was huge, though. It blew up in the news. People were all saying that they had encountered. It started off tame enough, where people said that they basically met this guy, or they'd been felt up or kind of scraped by this guy, then went looking for him or whatever, and he would jump 3 fucking meters over walls to get away.
And then it eventually it went to Parliament, or not Parliament, the local mayor released a statement about it, calling him unmanly, and he wouldn't approach a man's garden because he was terrified of approaching men, which is sort of like an MO of this lad. He just attacked women.
So I read one report claimed that beneath a black cloak he wore a helmet and a tight-fitting white garment like an oilskin. Many stories also mention a devil-like aspect. Others said he was tall and thin with the appearance of a gentleman. 7 reports mention that he could breathe out blue and white flames and that he wore sharp metallic claws on his fingertips. At least 2 people claimed that he was able to speak comprehensible English.
Comprehensible English, just like he was speaking.
So he wasn't going blah, 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 blah.
Blah, I'm a dragon.
Yo's me, Spring Heel Jack.
Spring Heel Jack is it would be a great name for like a jazz person.
It's me, Spring Heel Jack.
Now, we know he can jump.
I'm just grabbing you, baby. Don't you worry.
Let the jazz take you.
Let the jaz take you. There goes the best fuck of my life.
Yeah. Out the window.
Hey, don't get me, copper. She lady was into it.
That noise just gets me every time. I wish I had a soundtrack of that.
Yeah,
anyway.
no, he is a sexual predator. Anyway, what we go on?
Fighting.
Okay.
It's so hot in
here. Fighting.
Not a lot of descriptions of attacks. Well, there is a lot of description of attacks, but not like fatal attacks. He seems to like scratch and scrape at women's necks and backs. He can breed a fire that, if inhaled, knocks you out and causes you to have loads of fits for a while.
Jesus.
But
that's the least you'd expect from breathing in fire.
But in Victorian England, apparently having a lot of fits in a while was hysteria, which could be solved with a finger.
Spraying the old hose on the gi.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, let's look at his attributes at least here, Mark Jago, because we have been in this room for... You dropped your headphones there. This spring... We're talking about Spring Heel Jack, baby. I'm tall, I'm fast, I got iron claws, I can breathe blue fire. I can jump really super high, 3 meters. I can intimidate you, use my scare tactics, freeze you in your spot. And also because I'm a sexual deviant, you don't know what I might do. Boing.
He can jump up to 10 meters. His blue flames...
10 feet.
What did I say?
10 meters.
Alright, which is more?
Chico.
Yeah, of course, 10 feet. He could jump up to 10 feet,
Yep.
escape. He was very scared of men. He took a hit off a policeman's baton and kept going.
Whoa.
And one time he jumped in front of a carriage and the carriage wheel caught him, but he was unscathed. Unscathed?
Scathed.
Scathed. So there's a lot of theories about him being... This is sort of leaking evidence, but he is a manifestation of some sort of like a sexual repressed Victorian era, like, oh, you can't be horny, and like Spring Heel Jack, you know, spring boners are springs.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's a very good point.
there you go. So
What you know dick, like, you know, the way you can use your dick muscle when you have a boner.
Yeah.
What song do you think you could make your penis
Dance
to?
Um,
Because I might need some, like I could maybe do.
I need like a second or like a half a second reprieve every time.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be like, wait, I'm trying to take the beat.
Yeah, this is crucial stuff.
We like to party. We like to party.
That's very
we
quick.
Like to party.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I think I could probably do One Step Beyond by Madness. I think I could probably do like.
Oh, you're doing each lyric. You're gonna go up and down.
Well,
Sorry, I was
each
doing
note.
just like on the beat.
No. No, I don't know. I could probably like, but like I couldn't do like around like that. You know what I mean?
I said hip, hop, hip, hip. By the way, yeah, I think that I don't think he can fight. I think he's a little pussy. When a man approached him, he fucking jumped over a wall, did a little blue fart.
He's also run away from a lot of women here. You know what I mean? Women turn around and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm fucking out of here."
Yeah,
He's a fancy man.
he walked up to
with spring boots.
he walked up to a
Spring
house.
heels.
And then with the person who opened the door, it was like, "Who are you?" And he jumped away like, "Aha! You will never catch Spring Heel Jack."
This is insane. Like, it's insane that there's stories of this guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, and then we looked at him and he
He bounced away. Like, it could just be because back then everyone was really unathletic,
yeah.
so it could just be like a guy who's just really good at jumping. Like,
Could be, you know. But the fact that they say he's tall, I could maybe understand if this was some sort of like parkour, little small. You know, the way like little small buff lads, little small lads are incredible at everything.
Yeah.
Like they're incredible athletes. Small people tend to be better athletes and they can jump higher and do all this cool fast
Muscle
shit.
mass is
much
more,
better
yeah.
skateboarders as well. Shorter people,
Yeah.
I've found. I had no point to that. I give it fighting a 4.
I get fighting 4 as well.
Very good. We're in
'Cause
sync.
All the thing though is that we were like 5 would be a human, but like
Yeah, no, I could kick the shit out of Spring Heel Jack any
Evidence.
day. Oh, this is where it gets juicy.
yeah, it does.
But what is the evidence, sir? I'm just writing something down.
So you tried to lip sync that whole thing, Jago, and you didn't get a single bit right.
No.
Welcome, gather round the fireside and listen to a tale.
The Irish are a nation of storytellers, and Fireside, the Irish storytelling podcast, is having its very first live show at Bellobar on August 22nd. The Fireside Sessions beginnings will be an evening of folklore, mythology, some true tales, and even a few tunes. Sure, it wouldn't really be a session without them now, would it? Join me, your host, Kevin C. Olahan, and some very special guests of storytellers and musicians for an intimate and entertaining evening of what the Irish do best. No, not that, although we do hope there'll be a few of them too. August 22nd, Bellobar, Dublin. Tickets on eventbrite.ie/The Fireside Sessions beginnings. Follow us on Instagram at Fireside Bard, and we'll see you all round the fireside. Yeehaw.
So the most famous 2 sort of cases are Jane Alsop. So Jane Alsop was coming home when basically Spring Heel Jack jumped upon her and scared her, and then as she ran away, he clawed at her back and then jumped away. And there's another famous case that actually happened a couple of days later, and her name was Jane Seals, or Jane Seeley. When she went to the door, and a guy pretending to be a policeman was like, "I've caught Spring Heel Jack, call the constable," or whatever.
What?
When she came back with a candle, he threw off his cloak, and it was Spring Heel Jack, and he blew a blue flame into her face, and she had fits for days afterwards. And then the Lord Mayor of London said that she was unfit to go into society, and she would be a burden to her parents for the rest of her life.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so, like, if this is some lad playing a prank, like, this is a bad prank.
I read about this as well. This round takes... So, the early 1800s saw this ghost story craze. People... it's believed that Spring Heel Jack kind of stems from this kind of craze. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Hammersmith Ghost.
Yeah.
So, the Hammersmith Ghost was essentially... There was these ghost stories going around, and a guy was fucking killed because he was wearing white, and people thought that he was the ghost.
Oh, I didn't read this part.
Even to the point where his wife said, when he left, this was in Hammersmith, said, "Please don't leave dressed like that. A number of people today have already said you look like a ghost." And so he was shot dead, or no, maybe stabbed, I think he was.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have the guns. Well, I need to look into it, but this was 1803. Look up the Hammersmith Ghost. But the first sighting of Spring Heel Jack apparently was 1837, and then there was other sightings in Liverpool. So in October 1837, a girl by the name of Mary Stevens was walking to Lavender Hill, where she was working as a servant, after visiting her parents in Battersea. On the way through Clapham Common, see, I know all these areas, a strange figure leapt at her from a dark alley. After immobilising her with a tight grip of his arms, he began to kiss her face, while ripping her clothes and touching her flesh with his claws, which were, according to her deposition, cold and clammy as those of a corpse. In panic, she screamed, making the attacker quickly flee from the scene. The commotion brought several residents over. The next day, the leaping character is said to have chosen a very different victim near Mary Stevens' home. Inaugurating a method that would reappear in later reports. He jumped in the way of a passing carriage, so he did this a couple of times, causing the coachman to lose control and severely injure himself. Several witnesses claimed that he escaped by jumping over a 9-foot-high wall while babbling with a high-pitched ringing laughter. It's me, Spring Heel Jack! Gradually, the news spread about this Spring Heel Jack, and then this is when the Lord Mayor apparently... What was it? The Lord Mayor had a public session, and people gave loads of anonymous complaints about Spring Heel Jack. And one writer said that several young women in Hammersmith said they'd been frightened into dangerous fits and severely wounded by some sort of clawed miscreant.
Yeah.
That had been...
As I said, the Lord Mayor said that he wouldn't go into men's gardens in case he interrupted them, and he was an unmanly villain. Now, there's a few theories about it was mass hysteria, where, like, two things might have been like a prank, and then everyone just thought they saw it just because, like, it was like social media back in the day. If like someone had said it, would have just passed around through word of mouth. Another theory, which I'm pretty into, is Henry de la Poer Bereford, which was the Mad Marquis of Waterford.
Oh, I love this.
So I looked him up. He is the person responsible for the term "paint the town red."
Really?
Yeah. So he and his hunting party got absolutely locked and went to a small village, like absolutely pissed. They were doing renovations in the local small village. They beat the shit out of a local cop and painted him red, and then they ended up getting the paint and throwing it all over the town, and then they rode away, and he only paid like 50 quid, which is a lot probably back then.
Yeah.
But he paid like instantly, and he was released without charge.
So this Marquis apparently was all in the news in the late 1830s for all this kind of drunken, disorderly behaviour, vandalism, and he said apparently he said he would do anything for a bet. His irregular behaviour and his contempt for women earned him the title of the Mad Marquis, and he's also known that he was in the area of London where these took place. So in 1880, he was named as the perpetrator by a guy called E. Cobham Brewer, who said that the Marquis used to amuse himself by springing on travellers unawares to frighten them, and from time to time others have followed his silly example. In 1842, the Marquis married and settled in Curramore House in County Waterford, the place where All Together Now is currently
Oh, no way.
housed. So if you're going to All Together Now festival,
Everyone dressed like Spring Heel Jack.
know that you are supporting essentially the family of a man who used to jump with springs in his heels and claw at women and fucking jump over big old...
You're supporting a pervert. Another theory that I read on a pretty dodgy website, I think my laptop actually just gave up after we went to this website because it was very dodgy, where a cabal, including Jack the Ripper, had tried to summon a demon, but they were interrupted midway through, and Spring Heel Jack is an amalgamation of like a local human and a demon combined, and he didn't know what to do with his powers, so he just harassed women.
Well, another theory is that he was actually an extraterrestrial entity, and that his non-human appearance, e.g. retro-reflective red eyes or phosphorus breath and superhuman agility deriving from life on a high-gravity world with his ability to jump and strange behaviour. And then the other one, obviously.
Where was the Meneth in black pantaloons?
Very good.
That would be very good if you had them like a Blackadder.
Very good. They didn't do Blackadder.
No.
So yeah, if you're going to All Together now, which actually you will have already gone to by the time this is out, just know that's what you were supporting.
I gave it an evidence of 6 because it's definitely some lad with like those bouncy trampoline shoes.
Yeah, the moon shoes.
Yeah,
I mean, essentially, if you give this, I mean, if he exists as a lad who was just jumping and doing that, that's 10 out of 10. He does exist.
No, I give it a 6.
I know, but I'm just saying that what is the...
Because I think the
most complicated thing here for it to exist?
The general consensus is it was some sort of demon or some sort of ghost creature that attacked, but it wasn't. It was like half of that. It was a lad jumping around with some sort of pyrotechnics or some sort of ivory claws. So I'll give it a 6.
I will defer to your 6.
I defer to Mark because he's such a beautiful man.
Cool, baby.
Now this one I was pretty sort of conflicted about.
Yeah.
Because like Mr. Darcy, sort of posh people in England, Tories...
Yep.
All arseholes.
Mm-hmm.
But some lad, like, we've been that lad on, well, not groping and assaulting women, but we've been that locked lad. I've definitely done it, like, jumped out and tried to scare people when I was locked.
I've never did that. That's insane.
Tony, like, I remember you hiding in the bush somewhere trying to jump out and scare someone.
Maybe you, not women. I respect women.
I respect women. I know that their delicate frames can't.
I would never do that to a woman. If I had heels...
Yeah.
Then I'd be scaring the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
And I'd be a little pervert. I'd be jumping up your window watching you
I
get
do
changed.
think that if a human man can change if he's given springy heels, I think for the worst. Too much power goes to your head, you know? That's what they say.
Well, look, even if he was this Marquis of Waterford, fuck that, you know what I mean? Sounds like a cunt.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very class. It's classism.
Yeah,
like,
he sounds like a fucking prick.
Like, a lot of these attacks were servant girls or sort of lower class. It just sounds like a classist lad.
I mean,
private educated lad coming in, slagging and pretending to be poor, slagging people.
Exactly. Imagine fucking Boris Johnson. If I heard, I need any more reason to hate fucking Boris Johnson. But if I heard that he was fucking going around with claws, look, if we take it as what it could be, 1800s devil man of South London, jumping all over the place, who also could have been Waterford. That's but it's not cool, man. It's not good behaviour.
No, I don't like. I wanted it to be cool because I was like, oh, that would be pretty gas. But then I sort of read into it and I was like, it's a lot of just being a prick. It's someone who says the word banter and non-ironically.
Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, I was just jumping around banter ways, you know.
He's a sore lad. He's a sore lad
who
put
a high note.
Sort of lad who has has those like sticky dildos and throws them on cars and stuff.
Kyle.
No, I'm not saying that's Kyle.
Yeah. No, but he's definitely the sort of lad that you have to tell him to stop.
You're spot on. It's 5 sticks of dynamite deep, brother.
Yeah. So the other night I was out and I had me springy heels on. I was like, oh! And Quavon was laughing his head off.
Are you just doing my videos?
A plume!
I give him a cool this Spring Heel Jack fella. I originally had it as a cool of 8 because I had written down here 1800s jumping man, who may be a chap from Waterford, love it. But now talking about it,
He's not a cool guy.
he's grabbing birds. You don't go
Yeah.
grabbing. I don't care. There is, no statute on these things.
Yeah.
This does not expire grabbing women, scraping them with the claws and jumping out. It's cool you can jump. It is cool you can
I
jump.
still remember my first week in secondary school. I was walking by like this coach, and I was going to school. And I was a bit nervous going to school, and this guy jumped out of the coach and was like, "Wah!" shouted at me, and I was fucking like shitting it, and I was like, "Oh." I still remember just how angry and sort of frustrated I was that this older guy coming to my school just shouted at me for no reason in particular. Imagine that.
That's funny.
It's not funny. It
that
wasn't
is
funny at all.
Ah,
I was a little tiny kid.
you deserved
Looked
it.
like Harry Potter, a bit fat.
Yeah, you
Bit fat
deserved
Harry
it.
Potter.
You deserved it.
No.
Made you the man you are now.
I've never scared anyone.
That's
in my
bollocks.
life.
You are actually like the number one joke scare proponent. You always, every time I go to your gaff, you hide behind that door, but that opens the fucking wrong way.
But I don't scare people. I love them.
Yeah,
I love
this is. I don't know. Actually, see, this is the thing. I don't know.
No, I think us scaring people is a bit sort of like gas or whatever. But I think when anyone else doing it, it's wrong.
You don't grab women. You never grab women.
You are a shite poo-poo man if you...
Do you hear me now? You do not hit women. You don't scare women.
Yeah, I give this a cool of 5.
Whatever. I didn't have a score. Cool to 5. Sex appeal. What's he got under them heels?
Yeah, so what's he got on that cloak?
Uh,
the
I'm-
metal helm.
You know, he's the guy we love to hate.
He's, as I said before, he's Mr. Darcy. He's
Mr. Darcy.
Boris Johnson.
Well, no, he's Mr. Darcy. He wears that white kind of thing Mr. Darcy wears, where Colin Firth gets out with a lake.
He's Ken Gray from 50 Shades of Grey.
Christian Grey.
Whatever.
Yeah, he's got that vibe from.
He's a posh lad who probably doesn't know how to have sex and just jumps around a lot.
He's James Spader in Pretty in Pink.
Oh yeah, that's a very spot on thing. Like sort of like scares people and stuff.
Blake or whatever his name. Blair.
There's not a lot of, but then his groping comes into play, and that's not sexy. Consent is sexy.
Yeah, but
Sorry for putting the fucking roadblock on this conversation there, but like the fact that he did sort of kiss a girl against her will sort of ruins his sex appeal for me.
yeah. If there was police reports, this was not kinky kind of. I wouldn't mind if
Sure, this is like
I wouldn't mind if you surprised me one night. Like you do a little, cheeky. Oh, hey, we're out on a date. We're pretending like we don't know each other. And you can act a bit like maybe a bit more aggressive than you normally would.
My name is Springheel Jack. What's
My
your
name's
name?
Sometimes me and my wife we go for dinner somewhere. I pretend we don't know each other, and I act like Spring-heeled Jack.
Yeah.
And I put pewter claws in my hands, and I tear her to shreds.
Sir, could you stop jumping around? You're spilling your carbonara everywhere.
I hold my carbonara in the bowl,
Oh,
and I jump up and down. I bring my trampoline.
Please,
I'm like, please leave, Milanos.
sir. Yeah, Milanos.
Like I don't know. He's so sexy. He's. I don't want him to be sexy, but he's sexy.
Do you think you find him sexy because he is obviously an upperclassman? Like
That does not come into it at all. I'd much prefer he was a bit grotty.
So
I'd much prefer he was like a Victorian kind of,
Lad.
lower class guy. I'd love if he was just, Spring-heeled Jack was like from, I don't know, Middlesbrough. I'd be more into that than this idea that he's a fucking marquis of
the
Waterford.
Marquis of Waterford. Yeah, the Marquis of Waterford thing sort of threw me for a loop. I was like, I don't want to give it to because that's monarchy in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, he's somehow
Related to the Queen or whatever.
He'd be in line.
Not sexy.
No. Well, he is sexy.
Just because he can jump.
I don't know what we're fucking talking about.
Imagine we lived in a society where however high you could jump was sexy.
You do quite well.
I can do jump pretty well. Do you know what? My party trick is I can jump and then land completely silently.
That's not true at all.
100% true.
Yeah, I bet you couldn't even do it now.
All right, I'm going to put the mic on the ground and then...
And keep in mind, he has trousers and shoes off for this. Don't fuck with that. Okay. Okay. You jumping very high and then landing silently. Yeah. Okay, go on. Jago, come on.
So Tony was in awe of how
Jago,
well I
you
can jump.
joking me.
What? That was a good jump.
What you just did is what 2-year-olds show their parents, and the parents are like, oh,
Can I just say we've actually lost our minds because we're so sweaty.
it's really hot in here.
Yeah.
This is top drawer podcast content. Jago jumps up and down in the studio.
Yeah, you got it. Oh, you should have fucking recorded it.
I know. I'm sorry. That gold content could have fucking.
I gave it 4.
I don't know, man.
You just have a weird thing for like Downton Abbey and Victorian
I'm not,
era.
that is not what. Let me explain what I'm into here. I'm into a guy who is. He didn't overstay his welcome. He did a bit of grabbing, right? And I don't think that's fine, right? But he didn't. The Kappa is a rapist.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
I think we get him pretty good.
And there's other things that kill, right? This hasn't killed anyone. He's done a bit of grabbing with his little claws and a bit of kissing, and he's jumped over a wall. I don't agree with it, but I think for 1837, that's the fucking least of it.
Is he a bit of a springy
Heel
Aziz
Jack.
Ansari?
Aziz Ansari.
Yeah.
I don't fucking appreciate Aziz Ansari even being brought up in the conversation, but that's it should. But anyway, I don't even fucking want to put my fucking political.
We'll go down some bad roads if we keep this up.
No, do you know what Aziz Ansari is? It's good. It's good. Aziz is part of the conversation, so that people can actually talk about the kind of grey, because there is grey.
Grey area, yeah.
Yeah, there is grey. I mean, there's no grey when some of the other lads. That's not grey. That's black and white. That's fucking. You can tell that Aziz is a bit of grey, and I think actually Aziz probably added a lot more conversation to the whole thing. But anyway, Spring Heel Jack is not that. That's black and white. That is assault, and that's why I'm also giving it a 3.
Yeah, but I give it a 4, so that's grand.
Okay, I'll give it a 4. I'm fucking tired, Jacob.
So what's the final scores? I know, fucking heat gets me. I don't know what it is.
I'm about to fucking pass out. But anyway, what's the final score, Jago?
1. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies
Okay, come on, hang on.
Let the bodies hit the... Fighting 4. Evidence 8. Cool 5. Sex Appeal 4.
Final score of
21.
21. Okay, Spring Heel Jack.
Spring Heel Jack, he gets the magic blang. He's gonna.
Spring Heel Jack, not great.
Not great, but we knew this was going to happen.
In 48th place, behind Goblins and ahead of El Cuero.
How were Goblins so low? I thought Goblins would be pretty
I
high.
don't fucking remember.
Goblins had the best drawn, I do have to say that.
Why the fuck was I just talking about Aziz Ansari and it adding greyness to the conversation on the hashtag? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Hashtag Spring Heel Jack.
Not to say that I'm going back on what I said, but why the fuck am I talking about it on a fucking comedy monster podcast? For God's sake. Jago!
We're so hot. Like, Tony's wearing a grey t-shirt, I think.
I don't even know. It's dark right now.
Now, what we got coming up is Top Trumps.
Who's gonna win? Is it Tony or Jago? Put no wolfman against him or mate. Pick one team in the theatre screams at the part of the show that we call Top Trumps.
Okay, Jago, here we go again. Team dragging my balls across your face.
Versus Team Jago is cool. I'm going to shuffle my deck. And I drew a card. Oh, it's a pretty good one. I'm going to use cool.
Oh, for God's sake, okay.
And I got the puka.
the puka.
Oh, classic Irish one. And it's a cool of 8.
Okay, I also... No, I don't actually. I don't.
What's wrong?
I have a cool of 6.5.
Yeah! Who'd you get?
Fayanaga.
Cool. So now, my name is now Team Jago is cool.
Oh my God.
And Team Tony Spring-Heeled Cock.
That's so bad.
Yeah? It's so hot in here. Anyway, your name's Team Spring-Heeled Cock, and Jago wins again.
Very good, Mark Jago. Very good. Well done. And if you would like to play Top Trumps, write into Head Stuff and we will get some printed for you. No matter what they tell us.
Freak encounters. Oh, brilliant.
So, Jago, I believe you have a freestyle freak encounter this week.
Yeah, because we received too many in to choose the best one, so I decided we'd make one up on the spot.
Great shout. Well, if you would like to send in your freak encounter, so me and Jago don't have to do this again, do so. sexybeastpod@gmail.com or at sexybeastpod at the old Instagram. Jago, the floor is yours.
Hi guys, big fan of Jago and not Tony.
Okay.
This comes in from Brian Darby from Tullamore.
Okay.
Hi Brian. It's like, so one day I was at the local cricket club in Tullamore and it was the disco. And then I went to the dance floor and a girl came up to me. I've never seen her before, which is weird because everybody from the school was there. And she said to me, "Hey Brian, I have a question for you." And she goes, heads or tails, and she flicked the coin. And she flicked the coin and I looked it up in the air. And when I looked back, she was gone. And then I was telling my friends about her, and then they were like, "Oh, did you not hear about that girl who died here last year? She choked on a coin at this disco hall." And to this day, I've never used coins, only Apple Pay.
Oh, Brian Darby, thank you so much for sending that in. That, oh my goodness, Jesus, I'll be feeling a bit worried about my coins. Jago, since you did the freak encounter, I shall do the fucking proverb. Spare London, for London is like the city that thou lovest. Okay, I'm going to find a better one here. Adversity and loss make a man wise.
Girl, you got that sexy beast. You're
Got the
just so
spring-heeled,
sexy. Oh, you're a
spring-heeled,
Loch Ness
spring-heeled.
monster.
Tony, I'm fucking sweating. I don't want to put my pants back on.
Cryptid, supernatural vampires, banshees, Tony and Jago. Oops, there's a Wendigo. Hey, coming after me. Who the fuck said you could laugh at me, smack with me? With a Bigfoot dick you could slap with me? Blasphemy. You could dare come at me with a Bigfoot dick and a Loch Ness monster pussy? Bay sexy beast.
This has been a production of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.